Well, hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing fantastically well. We are back with Hardline episode 3, I believe it is. It's your Sunday supplement. What is going on in your world? Let us know in the comment section below. I'm joined, as always, by Gabe for this one, where we go through the week's antics, what's going on with Leeds United, and we catch up across the pond and see what's going on the other side. What's going on, as I said, in your world, everybody? Let us know in the comment section below. I'm super excited for this one. On the beach already. Connor Farker is a really good championship manager. However, Klopp is on the books for Red Bull. He's a great Premiership appointment. I can see Gabe going nuts in the background for that one. Calm down. BSG, thank you. The 49ers for making you think strategically ahead. I hope so. Connor should be able to confirm as to whether or not Klopp should come to Leeds or not. We've got him on the stream, mate, so I wouldn't worry about that. Hello, good evening, lads. Evening, guys. How's it going? Cool Hand Luke says, I hope people don't see the bigger picture. Leeds on track Premier League. We might occasionally stumble, but we will win the league. Max in the building. Bottled it, didn't we? No good beating Sheffield and Sunderland if we falter against West Bromwich Albion. Massively concerned. And Luke says, morning from Australia. Wait, we win it all on 98. Yeah, listen, there looks to be a varying opinion here. So I'm going to bring my good man in, Gabe, for this one. Gabe, how's it going, buddy?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you, Connor?
Yeah, good, man. Sounding good. The mic sounding exceptional there, actually. Booming.
Is it? It always sounds. Is it too loud?
No, it sounds lovely. Sounds very,
it always
very
sounds
nice.
exceptional. Let's be real. This is a nice rig.
Yeah, man. How's it going?
Yeah, it's all right. I've got a plant dying here in the background. I can sort of see. Yeah, I'm going to need to. Ooh, the blue backdrop. Look at this.
Yeah, like, nice. It's sort of like an ambient sort of, but bright as well. You know, should we go full screen for this one, or do you want to just go like sort of like cute little picture?
It's up to you, man. You're the production king. This might make my astigmatism worse.
We'll go full. We'll go full.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, it looks like people have some strong opinions after a draw to a pretty decent team.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I think there's we can go as far back as we want, really, but I don't think it's relevant. I like doing these shows with you, and we check in once every week, and sometimes maybe we've played a couple of times in a week, and I think it's lost to go too far back. But I do think it's quite, it's quite good as well to get like a general overview of what's gone on in a sense. But yesterday we drew to West Bromwich Albion side, obviously in 5th. I think today I've been calling maybe for a bit of perspective in terms of where we are and what we've done, and maybe, I don't know. Sometimes, look, Gabe, as well as I do, we've been on the debrief before we've come out on shows, and we've been annoyed at things, and we've been very angry at certain performances. But sometimes you got to take a bit of a step back for me, mate, and look at what we've done, and it's been ridiculously impressive at whatever level you're playing, breaking records, highest goal difference in Europe currently. I think there's just got to be maybe a call for perception at this stage.
I appreciate that you've projected what you want to say onto my name in the title. Gabe calls for calm. I really appreciate that. I'm now the mannequin of this channel to
That's
no,
it.
no, I mean, but you are right to an extent, right? I think that I understand the anxiety is high. I have it too, because I mean, the reality of our situation changes pretty drastically if we stay in the championship for a 3rd season.
Yeah,
very drastically. And I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point. But yeah, I think for me, the expectation that we're going to win the lot is not realistic. No teams do that. We're not going to do it. We should expect, there's a difference between expecting to win every game going into play it and then actually winning every game, right? So this team is a decent team. They have good players. I think you brought it up on one of your earlier streams, who they have just coming off the bench, some very good championship players. I'm pleased we didn't lose. Disappointed we didn't win. But given the run of form we've been on, the levels we've been seeing week in, week out, I'll really only be concerned if we don't turn around in our next match. But listen, a draw is not the end of the world. I think we need to maybe just hold our horses a little bit. And if we see disturbing trends continue, then fine. But a draw after how many wins in a row is not particularly disruptive.
Yeah, I get it as well. It's I think the big thing for this is you've got to kind of come back and do something, haven't you, Gabe, against Portsmouth? You've got to come down back and do something.
We
There's
have
got
to
be
beat Portsmouth. Yeah, I mean, let's be real. We have to beat the teams like Portsmouth in the league. Like, drawing to West Brom is nothing to be ashamed of. They're a good side, right? They're not as good as us, but they're a good side. Alternatively, you can't not beat Portsmouth. You have to beat Portsmouth.
I thought there's got to be a bit of credit given to them. I thought yesterday, aside from Sunderland, they're the best team to come to Ellen Road. I mentioned it on a couple of videos, Gabe, that I thought even when it was almost like we were trapping them at points. We were trying to be quite aggressive in a press. I thought in the second half they were playing they were playing their way out of it. It was really, really good in terms of like 1-2 touch passing. Especially I thought towards Dan James, there was Callum Styles who was playing at left back, and then you had Alex Mowat just on that left side of central midfield as well. And they popped it out of areas really quickly and really efficiently. And you've just got to turn around at points and say, look, that's very good football. It's very good football. And then up top, you've obviously got Adam Armstrong, who I thought gave Joe Rodon probably his toughest test he's had in a while, to be honest, in terms of just that press, and always been off the shoulder as a small, diminutive, stocky, quick striker. And we know all about Adam Armstrong. I just thought they were good. I thought, look, I think there's a lot to be said. You know, Leeds have done really well in the past month, and there is an argument that that's probably the most complete performance from an opposition we've come up against.
Maybe. I think that Darnell Furlong was really good for me. He stood out. Michael Johnston as well, I thought was exceptional. I mean, look, they have good players. And one thing I did notice, I mean, look, they subbed on four different guys. So we subbed on 2. I think this is an issue that we saw on the back half of last season, and we're seeing perhaps, I mean, I don't know. This is just one result, right? And it's a draw. It's not even a loss. So you don't want to read too much into it. But we do know that Farka tends to, when he finds a vein that works, he tends to beat it into the ground. And I think you could probably say that, you know, only substituting 2 of our players is perhaps not doing the side any favors, particularly given the depth that we have. I mean, when you have a guy like Ramazani who's not coming, seeing any game time, Gilavogi, I know I'm not sure how he's supposed to get better if he doesn't play. We've talked about Schmidt all season. So, you know, I don't mean to imply this is like, you know, a big deal. But if you see your team looking a bit leggy, you wonder, you know, why don't we dip into the subs a little bit more? And when I look at what they were able to give us as the match went on, it was a much more even in possession contest than Leeds United are used to. I just thought that they used their depth a lot better. I thought their mental approach to the game was very strong, and I thought, you know, they gave us physically all that we could handle, and it wasn't like just bruiser ball. They played some good football out of the back. They played through us, as you mentioned. So, you know, again, good side. What I want to put to bed is this fan discourse around players being Premier League ready. You know, like we'll sort of look at our side of like, oh, this is a Premiership side. This guy's gonna bang on in the Premier League. Sorry, guys, that's just not the case. Even our top players here, there's gonna have to be a lot of replacement and a lot of buying if we go to the Premier League. And if we go to the Premiership next season and don't buy players and run this team out, we're going to get run out of the league. Because, you know, as we've seen, we can have a couple good results against some good teams for the division, and then come up against a objectively average side in terms of world football, but for the championship, a fairly decent side, and look pretty unremarkable, right? And that's the key. So I hope this was a bit of a reality check. I think we can have a reality check without panicking. But the stakes are high. If we stay in this league for a 3rd season, we're going to be in a difficult state as a club. So I mentioned last week, wanted to see some distance be created. That we definitely helped ourselves by beating Sheffield United. We didn't help ourselves this week, but you know, we have to beat Portsmouth, and that's just kind of the situation we're in. Not that big of a deal, but it could be if we don't keep winning.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's a very interesting conversation. I mean, I'm kind of looking at it now as it's not sort of I've been trying to maintain a level of calmness on the channel, but I think you kind of look at maybe certain personnel in the lineup and maybe certain positional maybe headaches that Farke maybe should be having, but he's maybe not having. The attack's an interesting one, and it's sort of spurred a little bit of a thought in me, Gabe. It's not been It's in the last 3 to 4 games. It's been in the last 3 games in particular. It's been moments, hasn't it, Gabe? It's been moments. And maybe when we're thinking about the Premier League, maybe we're thinking about the cohesiveness of James, of Solomon, of Aronson and Peru. And like you've said, the expectation of maybe those 4 in particular is that maybe a percentage of them will be able to acclimatize to the Premier League. I think it's been moments
as substitutions, maybe, but
and that's kind of what I'm referring to. Anyway, it's just by the way, this isn't hot off the press when it comes to just West Bromwich Albion. I think it's been a culmination of the 3 games of which they've had moments, but I think in the Premier League, and you know, some people would say, well, Connor, they're only going to have moments in the Premier League, but I think it's got to be a little bit more than that. It's got to be a little bit more consistent than that. I think we've seen sort of maybe lapses in that front 4 periods. It's not been long enough. You look at the Sunderland game, it really, if we're looking at moments, it was towards the end, wasn't it? That the attack was kind of quelled for 70, 80 minutes, really, in terms of big chances, shots on goal. You look at the Sheffield United game, they came into it a little bit in the second half, Leeds, and we played much better in the last 20, 30 minutes, but that was very much directed by substitutes, of course. Solomon had a bit of a 30-minute spell in that first half against Sheffield United where he was getting Leeds up the pitch, but still nothing much. And then we're kind of looking at the 3 games overall. Brendan, has to be said, has struggled, I felt, in all 3 of those games.
I don't think he struggled in all 3, but it was pretty acutely apparent to me yesterday that like we will have like 4 or 5 times a season where he'll have like a run of games of like 4 or 5 matches. He'll be pretty impactful, and then he seems to be just in no man's land. This was one of those for me. I think he just needs a rest sometimes. I guess I don't I mean, he came off in the 72nd minute for Joseph. I think it was something like that. I don't know what this proclivity to run certain players in the ground is for Farka, especially when you have Ramazani, you have Nanto on the bench, you have Joseph on the bench, you have you can change your formation. You've got Gilavogi, you've got various players you can bring in. I think I just don't get it sometimes. And I do think that if you're going to dig out this manager for anything, it's that he doesn't always make changes, either tactically or personnel wise. And you know which way the game is going. I mean, it felt like one of those matches, didn't it? Like we've seen these before. And again, I'm not trying to, the house isn't on fire. I'm not trying to say it's a huge, huge deal. And I do want to point out that, you know, to reference what you were just saying about the Premier League and stuff, there's not a single team in the championship who hits consistent levels every single week throughout the season, or who will go through an entire match on the front foot. Like every time we break down these matches, you know, somebody on a YouTube channel, whether it be ours or somebody else's, will say, you know, they had a spell where we let them get back in the game and that wasn't good. I'm like, guys, that's football. Like you can't be in the dominant position for 90 minutes. It just doesn't happen. It certainly doesn't happen if at the in the championship. So I think we want to be.
It's the fearing thing from last season. I think the and this is the thing what I don't understand. Like, don't get me wrong, we're a bit, Gabe, we're friends. We can be cocky and abrasive and braggadocious with other fan bases. There's banter in football. We're all very much about it, and
we're the most self-paranoid fan base though there is.
But we are this, and this is what I was leading to. Like, you know, this whole arrogant thing with Leeds, the tag that we get is absolute rubbish, because the trauma that Leeds fans have had for the best part of 15, 20 years now basically means that even when you get any sort of incremental advantage on an opposition, there is, I mean, look,
both are true, Connor. Both are true. Let's think about the winter, or the transfer window for January.
Yeah.
Everybody said we had the best team in the league by far. Everybody was saying that, but we needed to add players. So yeah, on one hand, there's this 3
or 4 players as well. 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Players.
Some people were saying 5 or 6. So there is an arrogance, because I don't necessarily think that our side by far, I do think we're the best side in the league, but I don't think it's like, you know, as you all would say, by a country mile. I don't necessarily think that's, if we're just talking about like moments we see, but fine. But most of the stuff we think about our players hasn't really been proven out on the pitch. We just have this idea of a player's talent. It's very unattached to actual results and things they've put together consistently. So it's really just potential. That being said, I do acknowledge and I do agree. I think we do have the best side. I do think the degree in which we sort of beat our chests about it sometimes is a little bit loud. And then on the other hand, as soon as, you know, there's a feeling in the grapevine that we're not going to sign, you know, three amazing players, best in the championship. Somehow they're not on our team to join us. Then everybody panics. So there is a deep-seated paranoia, and I do think there's a little bit of an arrogance. I have seen people in the comments of various videos you've put out talk about how it's done and dusted. We've won the league. We're not up by 15 points, guys. Like it's still a pretty tightly contested table. So I still think we'll win it. I think we'll go up, but that there is but Connor, we can't say things like that and then say we're not arrogant. There's more than 10 matches left to play. Look at the table.
I don't know if that's arrogant, though. I don't know if it's arrogant.
By the definition of arrogance, that is 100% what it
is. Confidence. I think it is.
Confidence would be, I think we're good enough to win the league. I feel pretty confident we're going to league. We're saying it's over. It's done and dusted.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't ever
That's
say
arrogance by definition. Come on.
No, it's feeling or belief, isn't it? The feeling or belief. That's what it is.
Do whatever mental gymnastics with the semantics you want to do. But I do think that we tend to be, especially when we're riding high, we beat Sheffield United and we'll say we're going to win the league. I understand where the arrogant accusations come from. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I think as a fan base, we are quite self-aware. I think it is quite self-aware. I think it's I think you'll get pockets of course who are that. Yeah, you are right. Who are saying that it's done and dusted and all this sort of stuff. But I think everybody's kind of well aware that of what Leeds United can do, what they can do in seasons. We saw it last season. Just getting to a few comments as well. John says, let's be realistic. This was going to be the tricky one. There's 7 points from 9 and 3 point, 7 points from 9 from 3 of the top 6 teams is still a decent return perspective. Keep the faith.
Yeah, it is a good return. You're right. I 100% agree with that.
It's an excellent return. Yeah. Woody says, I think we end up with 9, I think he means 98 points and 98 wins.
I would love 98 wins.
I think we end up with 98 points, 4 draws and 1 loss. That gets us up, but no guarantee to win the league. Right? Says
this is what I want to interrupt and ask. Keep Ryan's comment up though.
No, I'll get into it after.
I want to ask everybody. Remember last season when we went on this run? This is all I'm bringing up. I love that the headline says I call for calm, and really I'm calling for caution. I want everybody to remember how we felt after that run last season, and then remember how we felt when we drew with Rotherham and dropped all points to QPR in a 4-0 loss. This was a trash QPR team, right? So it's football. Anything can happen. When there's not a massive gap in points, we just have to be careful how crazy we get one way or another. I think on one hand, there's no reason to think the house is on fire. We're not going to win every game. I'd be concerned if we put in an absolute stinker and got bossed. Like, that would be concerning. But anything could happen, guys. We need to, be a little bit careful the way we start crowing after a victory or two, Again, did anybody predict? Did you predict that we were going to lose to QPR 4-1 last season?
Do you think I was crowing?
Yes. Yeah. You're a crower.
I literally have never crowed in my life, mate. So this season, I'm taking it on my own.
You crowed on camera live with your friends in the stadium. I don't think I've ever heard your voice go "hey" so many times. It was solid. You had a great time.
The thing is, a lot of that is, I think, context applied. You're beating your rivals in their own backyard, and you're beating them in a Yorkshire derby. So a lot of that for me is, don't get me wrong, there's 5,000 fans at the game singing "Champions, ole, ole, ole," and at Ellen Road yesterday.
That's what I mean.
So this is not just a me thing. But what I will say,
I'm not singularly accusing you of being the only arrogant guy in the space.
No, I know. But
Conor McGilligan is the only YouTuber.
But what I will say is that for me, a lot of that game was about, I went on a Sheffield United stream and I was giving it, but it's very much like I was more just happy with the context of that game to beat Sheffield United, the team who was second in the division, 3-1. That's what I was more than happy to do. It was unbelievable. It was a great feeling. We'd done 2 in a week. That's what I was more braggadocious about. It's the fact that you've beaten second and you've beaten 4th in the division. It's the Champions thing. Obviously, that is just something that comes with beating teams in that territory, of course. But
we cannot turn this stream into my weirdness about precision in language.
Yeah,
Because
my
I'll
God.
be like,
Yeah,
Connor, you can't celebrate by saying one thing that's not true. I'll literally be like, why didn't you just sing "We beat our rivals"? We beat our rivals.
yeah,
That's how my
yeah,
stupid brain works.
yeah, let's have a look. Let's
Imagine
have a
the
look.
chants I would write. They'd be so precise.
No, man. Yeah, exactly. Man United are out. There we go. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at what some of you guys are saying. Rai says Ramazani is a really strange one. Hasn't had a sniff for 2 games. Yeah, look, this is kind of where I'm at. I think Ramazani Rai has got a massive part to play, or like a big part to play at least in the Premier League. I think me and Gabe, we've spoken about it, I think as football not being linear. I think in the Premier League, I think Ramazani, if we were to get there, by the way, Ramazani would be a good addition if Leeds were to employ a counter-attacking style. I do think I would like to see a little bit more of him so that if we are to utilize Ramazani in the Premier League, there's a little bit more adaptability and it's a bit more of a seamless transition. Look, I completely understand Solomon's been unbelievable and he deserves his place and there is no question there whatsoever. I just think at points it would be nice to introduce Ramazani earlier, or if at all, to be honest with you. That would be nice, I think. And I think he's a real sort of like, he's a bit of a Swiss Army knife of a player as well. So he's not been great. Brownie mentioned this as well. He said when he's come back, this is something as well. Brownie said to me the other day, he said he's not been great when he's come back in, Connor. But I'm like, look, mate, if I'm playing football,
haven't been great when they've come in with diminished minutes.
This is exactly right. This is exactly my point. It's like this is what really irritates me, and it goes all the way back to the who argument, the Joseph argument.
Yeah.
It always used to irritate me because it's like you're judging him on nothing really. There is nothing.
That's the big difference with Ramazani is when he started at various points, he has been very impactful.
Well, not as much recently. Not as much recently.
Well, how many recent starts has he had? That's what
I'm
saying.
Yeah.
No, that's the big difference for me. Like, I'm not trying to make this another the 10,000th Joseph debate we've had on the channel.
No, it's not Joseph.
But Joseph has had starts and maybe hasn't always sparkled. Ramazani,
Correct.
when I've seen him start, has played really, really well.
Correct,
and it's sort of hard to. There's for those of you who like conspiracy theories. Here's one for you. Okay. I don't care for conspiracy theories, but I think this is quite funny. It would be sort of clever if you think you have a really talented guy who can make the jump up to just focus on his acclimation to the city, to the league, get him enough game time to keep him relatively happy, and make sure he doesn't put up ridiculous stats that have a top team coming in and buy him off you when you go up. No. I'm not saying that's even likely, but if I was in a director of football position and I'm like, ooh, Ramazani could probably, because earlier in the season I was like, oh, is this guy going to get like 15 goals and like 13 assists? I mean, he was playing that well for a stretch of 4 or 5 games.
He looked to level up, didn't he? He looked to level up.
Yeah, and it'd be sort of interesting if you'd be like, oh, let's just sort of put our arm around him and say, you know what? Don't worry about impressing so much this season. Just, get your feet under you. You're going to be here for the long haul and make sure that
you think it's a tactic.
No, I'm saying that would be the conspiracy theory. I'm not saying I'm saying it wouldn't be beneath me to do that. But I doubt that's what's happening. But that is one potential read on it,
Hopefully, yeah, that'd be nice. But I agree, right?
If Farke was just like we wasn't do it. No, I was about to ask you to do Farke impression. I hope you don't actually.
It's not great when we've drawn or lost.
We must keep him hidden from other teams in the league.
We'll keep him locked up. No, but what I will say, mate, is with regards to everything, it is very much just a week of elation, really, leading up to this point.
Yeah.
And the champions ole was something that just came as a byproduct of that, really, of which I sort of definitely bought into. So we'll wait and see. We might win it. I think the overall thing, Gabe, isn't it? Really, if we just take a step back and look at it, it's Tuesday night. It's Burnley against Cardiff. I literally couldn't care less. The hysteria of Leeds winning the title would be great, but ultimately, you look at the top two. The top two is the most important thing. Leeds United getting promoted to the Premier League. Really, when you look at it, yeah, Sheffield United, don't get me wrong, it'd be nice if and look, Burnley as well, they're still part of it. If we're to win the league, amazing. But really, it's just Leeds getting into that top two.
Just you saying it's Burnley against Cardiff literally made my blood pressure just drop. There's nothing less exciting than that sentence.
No.
They're not even beach towns.
Oh, don't start with this, mate. Don't start with this. Some self-reflection on your country at the minute needs to be brought to the fore.
We're just talking about aesthetic. We're not talking about talking about anything else other than aesthetic. You'll make me jump out this window with any other chat.
Right, before that, let's go into a few comments. Okay, so we've got, Ryan said that. Alan says, Eve, Connor and Gabe, hope you're both well. I think us Leeds fans think the world has fallen apart. Now we are top 22 other teams would love to be where we are. And that is true. It is true, Alan. I think it is call for calm. I mean, the comment section of my live chat yesterday was insane.
What were they saying?
It was just, look, subjective. It doesn't mean I have to agree with subscribes and just the general opinion, but it was just chaos. It was.
What were people saying? Farka out.
It wasn't Farker out as such, but we've
good.
Bottled it again. That's it. Burnley are going to catch us, and it's just crazy. I just find it. It's from what, maybe like 4 or 5 days previous, where it was like, you'd have probably got the same people saying we're going to win the league by 10 points. To then it being just such a dump, and it's just the roller coaster of being a Leeds United fan. I get it, but. Look, I've been critical of Leeds previously. I've been critical of the manager, everything really when it comes to it, and I praise them as well. But right now we're in a point of which we've just played second, fourth, and fifth in the best part of 8 or 9 days. And we've come out with 7 points. It's an incredible return. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it'd have been ideal. But Gabe's quite right. Gabe is bang on the money. Now you have to go and beat Portsmouth. Yeah. You have to go and beat Portsmouth, and
you can't afford to fall off a cliff. That's the point. And I don't think we will. However, I can see on one hand, I'm calling us paranoid, and then on the other hand, I'm thinking, do you remember when you first started playing FIFA, Connor, and you'd have the ball in hand as a goalkeeper, and then maybe hit the wrong button, you turned around and threw it into your own net. There's a 1% chance in the back of my head that happens in the middle of a Leeds game sometimes. And that's what makes me worried. I'm like, I think I want the margins to be so large that certain players can't mess it up. And I think I'm a little bit nervous that will happen. And I don't want it to come down to a couple of results, especially since what I know can happen based off last season, based off just the history of being a fan of this club.
It just will.
Things are going well, and then you go to QPR away and lose 4-1 and wonder what the hell happened. So,
I guess the thing with that is, Gabe, is we're talking as if Sheffield United and Burnley aren't going to drop points.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to. What I hate is people being like, "Oh, we only have to do X, Y, Z because Burnley and Sheffield United only did we just need to focus on winning our games, and getting to because, and I'm sure everyone in the comments will resonate. If there's a chance for lightning to strike and make it hit somebody and to do something they've never done before, it'll happen to them, won't it? Will it happen to Leeds? Probably not in a positive way. So,
I just think with the games that we've got left, how superior we've been to a lot of the lowerly teams in this division as well. And it's been a big change on what it was last season.
Yes, you're right, because we did struggle against Rotherham twice.
Birmingham we struggled against.
I remember we had 3 consecutive results against Sheffield Wednesday. We thought that made us world beaters. It was because it was in the cup and it was in the league, and I think maybe we flattered to deceive it at points.
We massively struggled against the lower teams last season. We really did.
We did, but it was never a talent thing. And I don't know. It was. I think a lot of it was away, because home we did great. I think we're better away than we were last season, but we're still not great, and so that sort of concerns me a little bit. But listen, be that as it may, I'm sounding like I'm more concerned than I am confident. I'm more confident than I am concerned.
I think so. This is an interesting one that I saw LUFC data put out, and I want to stick this on screen now, which is which is this is the scare, not the scare.
I appreciate that, by the way, that I get dug out for being an American data head, and then there's a site called LUFC data that never gets dug out. But go on.
Yeah, he's pretty good, to be fair, Chris. Leeds have just won 2 of our last 12 matches. That kicked off at 1:30 GMT or earlier. It's quite staggering, that, isn't it? And we've got another one coming up with Portsmouth. So There you go. It's been I don't know why that is a trend with Leeds, but it's something Brownie mentioned as well in terms of us just never picking up that many points at 12:30. I don't know what goes on.
That shouldn't make any sense at all. Sorry, that shouldn't make any difference at all. I don't know why it would. Unless our team is all on the piss the night before. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand. But yeah, it's I guess it's an interesting data point.
It's interesting, of course.
Yeah.
Shez says Portsmouth won't be easy. By the way, Fratton Park early kickoff, they'll be up for it. I think we'll pick up 4 points in our next 3. 4 and 3. Jesus Christ! So we have. I mean, that would mean
just the things that Connor will be saying and doing if that happens.
Oh, I'm off. I'm off. Yeah, that's me done. I put my flag.
I'll get like a panic text from his missus. Be like,
no, you won't.
Connor's not left his room in 3 days.
Mate, this time you won't. This time you'll just see me just posting loads on the general channel and just ignoring this channel. I can't stand if Leeds this won't happen. But if Leeds blow up now, there's no point in me remaining on the internet. There's no point after how hard I've gone with Leeds. For once in my life, I've actually been this confident, and it's blown up in my face. Do you
remember last season we were talking about if you became a billionaire, you'd vanish in Thailand?
Yeah, I'd just get rid of it.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure where you'd vanish to if Leeds went down, but it'd be a serious situation.
Yeah, 100%. The scrutiny on Farke is part of the job managing Leeds after last season. Yeah. It's his time to prove us wrong.
Sure.
If he repeats the failures of 24-25, we're in the shush.
Let me just be clear to this comment, and it's a good comment. If Farke doesn't get us promoted, he's going to get sacked. I want to be very clear about that. We will get promoted. Like, I'm pretty confident about that. But if for some reason that doesn't happen, Farke at Leeds United is done. Like, and to be honest, probably Farke at a big job in English football is done. Like, that would be absurd with the tools that he's been given 2 seasons in a row. Yeah, it would be a worst case catastrophe scenario.
I mean, we're at a period now as well where my God, man, oh no, we've got a little bit more. I was going to say we had 10 left, but we've got 11 games left. I'm just going to pull a few of these up, Gabe. And
the season isn't nearly over, though. It's kind of weird.
It's very close, very close. So what are your general thoughts on these games anyway? Like, because obviously I know you're not big on sort of just predicting results.
5 wins in a row. Absolutely. Portsmouth, Millwall, QPR, Swansea, Luton. Are you talking there as in like almost what we should be doing or what you think we will do? What we should do and will do. That unless we fall off a cliff. The odds makers would say the same thing. Like, smart money is that we beat Portsmouth. We're much better than they are. Beat Millwall, much better than they are. Beat QPR, much better than they are. Swansea and Luton, same thing. These teams are trash. They are. I'm happy to say that. They're garbage. We should be destroying teams that are garbage in this division.
You do look at Gabe. They are even with the odd discrepancy in there as well. The odd sort of draw, the odd loss. They are very favourable games, aren't they? Towards the end of the season,
Middlesbrough that can go either way. I've seen them play poorly. I've seen them play great football.
Yeah.
Preston have just dug out a pretty good result. I think it was in the cup actually. Oxford we should beat. Stoke City. Oh. Wait, is that the last match of the season? Stoke?
No, it's Plymouth. Okay. Bristol and Plymouth.
Either way, Plymouth and Stoke. I can't think of any worse places to go.
Yeah, we're just. It's the thing is, we're just like we.
Wait, would you rather spend 3 days at a dodgy hotel in Stoke or Plymouth?
My God,
like you can't leave. You
have in these locations.
Yeah, but I need to know what you'll say.
So what was that?
If you were stuck for 3 days in like a dingy, like near the train hotel.
I'm sorry, by the way, if someone lives in Stoke or Plymouth on here, because this guy's insulted you again. I'm sorry.
Would you rather be in Stoke or Plymouth?
I'm not answering that question.
Yeah, you've got to answer it.
There'll be a few people.
I'll railroad the rest of this conversation if you don't if you don't talk about it.
Let's get into a few more. I'm bypassing that. Remember, folks, he says, remember promotion from League One, final game, 1-0 down to 10 men. If this happened again, we would take it. We're up. Yeah, I mean, I was there that day, mate. I don't want that again. Scott says, everyone has been way too overconfident here. These next 11 games will be very tough, and I can honestly see us dropping points. Sheffield United will end up above us end of...
Scott, are you shouting that at us as well?
Scott, tell me, Scott as well.
Very aggressive.
Scott, as well. When I say to you right now, the form team in the division alongside Leeds United is Coventry, and Coventry are playing up against Burnley and Sheffield United still remaining. Sheffield United have the Steel Derby still to play, and Burnley and Sheffield United have to play each other, of which they both can't win. And they're only 3 games of which I've picked out. Are they winning? Are we looking at full Sheffield United wins there? They're just winning every single game because that, I don't know.
I like Scott though with his hot take though. I sort of want to read it out.
Scott, no, I appreciate it, but let's not get around the fact that Sheffield United still have to get a win up on us and then a draw because we've got a better goal difference. So they win, and let's say we lose again. Let's say hypothetically in the same game week, they still don't go above us. So then we've got to drop points again, and then Sheffield United have got to pick up more points than we do, essentially, to go above us. So, okay, that's fine. But this, I mean, just for a little bit of, this is what gives me a little bit of hope.
Well. You've done it to him, Scott.
3, his head's gone. My head's not gone. Jesus, you don't know me. My head's been gone much more than this. But it's to give perspective. 3 losses in, is it 35 now? 35 games.
Yeah. What he's saying is, I think what he's saying is, I could see us dropping points in the back half of the season, no matter how good we've been. Is that right, Scott?
No, I know what you're saying, Gabe, but it's just this. There's a whole understanding right now that Sheffield United are just going to go on this murderous run.
Yeah, they'll never lose. I know,
and they're never going to lose a game. And it's just and even though they've got tougher games than Leeds coming up, objectively as well, still lost to Millwall and drew with Bristol away this season. Yep. We did. Yeah. Indeed. Leeds will get promoted.
Yeah, surely promoted.
Yeah.
Just need to let them be.
Just need to let them be. All the talk about next year, who's going to stay? No, it's not. Yeah, we shouldn't be looking too far ahead.
Well, it's not harmful. How's it harmful? Like, who are we hurting by talking about who might stay and who might go?
Yeah. Folks, he says as well, 4 games at 12:30 or before. FFS, cheers so much for your donation, mate. Mad to think after the week we have had and thinking it's done. By the time we play Pompey, Burnley, it could be 2 behind us in Sheffield level points. Insane. Yeah. There is that. We do have to go and put a result in against Portsmouth. We all know that. We're all aware of that.
Oh, Connor, by the way, Martin's just said in Stoke you can get oatcakes.
You can get oatcakes. They say it in a weird way, actually.
What do you mean they say it in a weird way? What's that?
It's like the accent. The accents. It's just.
Can you do it?
No, I can't do Stoke. I'm good at accents. Not Stoke. Stoke. I'm from Stoke. Stoke. Robbie Williams.
So what I'm hearing you say is that Plymouth would be the place that you'd stay.
I hate Port Vale, me. I'm loving the confident Connor. Yeah, that's right. Confident Connor. Basically, I need to turn into just Anakin Skywalker again and just get, see the lava again. My red lightsaber.
just scream, I hate you.
Yeah. I'm not good on the green side. FFS says this is the championship. Every team dropped points throughout the season. We had 62 points at this stage under Bielsa promotion season. Still a lot of points to play for, and we're on 76.
Yeah, 100%.
Have you got any wisdom for the remaining part? Have you got any sort of like confident things that you can ease people with?
No, we need to win the games. But what I will say is, Michael has given a comment here that says Firpo is gone. Can tell the way he plays. He's all over the map. He's out of position so much he get killed in the Prem again. I think he knows it. Michael, people call us negative. The guy scored his 2 straight matches. Yeah. Like I'm just wondering if you're sat there with your tea. It's like, bloody Junior Firpo scoring in matches. It's just really funny to me. That being said, I agree. We should probably sell him and get a new left back if we're going to go into the Premier League. But
yeah. I'm going to get a hammer either way. I can't win on this front. I really can't win.
What, with Junior?
No, I can't win in terms of whatever stance I go for. Whatever stance, I'm just going to get hammered. So after QPR, only Preston and Borough concern me. That's true. Yeah, QPR ain't going to be easy, but we should beat them.
Yeah, just to contextualize for people why I keep talking about the repercussion of staying down, how big of a deal that could be. Remember that revenue drops sharply each year after relegation because of parachute payments. Now, what does that actually mean? The support would drop to 20% in our third season. What does that actually mean in terms of like pounds? Well, it means that we would.
I feel like you're doing a parachute. A PowerPoint presentation right now. What does
I
that
wish I had.
actually mean?
Yeah, what does that actually mean? No, it means we're talking about a shortfall in revenue of between 30 and 50 million season over season. Now, that's pretty significant. Think about what Stoke, speaking of Stoke like sold their stadium for, was it 75 million pounds to avoid going into administration?
But why are you talking like
The
this?
reason I'm bringing this up is because for everybody who is angry about the sponsorship, the multi-season sponsorship with Red Bull, what the 49ers have essentially done here is made sure that if the parachute payments stop for next season, that we're not going to have to lay off 60% of the staff at Ellen Road and massively sell off players, because that's what you'd normally be looking at. Okay. And there's a reason why they didn't drop a ton of money in January, because if for some reason we stay in this division, we are going to be in a disadvantaged position financially significantly. Right. So you're going to have to find new ways to bring in revenue. So thank God we did do that sponsorship deal. Additionally, if we go up into the Premier League next season, which we pretty much have to, we will have a war chest of money. So I don't want anybody to be attached to some of these players, because many of these guys, at least half these guys, are going to be gone. And if we stay down, they're going to be gone anyway.
Would you do anything differently? Would you do anything differently selection-wise in terms of the side?
Yeah, I would rotate Aronson more. I just think that.
Do you like the 4-4-2 that we've been kind of going on?
No, I think it worked in a match, but I wasn't particularly impressed by it. I think the reality is that our depth in certain positions is not utilized optimally, and that's at the winger position. I think that if we're going to, I guess you sort of have put yourself in between a rock and a hard place, because if you're going to sub Aronson, which he needed to be subbed, and I agreed with the substitution, you don't really have a like for like replacement unless he wants to play somebody out of position, which we've seen doesn't really work that well, and he just doesn't really want to try it, Farka. So you have to go to a 4-4-2. Bamford's never available. Joseph's going to be put in the match. I think that Joseph would benefit greatly from regular playing time. You can't really get it at Leeds. That being said, I would like to see, like, Solomon, I thought had a pretty poor game yesterday.
Yeah,
I thought he should have come off sooner. I would like to see Ramazani get on more. And I think that there's a chance that some of the midfielders are going to be run into the ground a little bit. This is just if I'm preparing for like doomsday scenarios. I think this team has more than enough to get us over the line and to win the league. As it is. Yeah. So those are the ways I would improve rotation. But realistically, look, Farka's doing a good job. He is. I have doubts about him at the next level, but he's doing a good job in the championship. That being said, if we don't go up, there will be no more Daniel Farka at Leeds. Now, I don't want to hear a single apologist for him if we don't go up. There's no reason why we shouldn't.
No, not one. No, he shouldn't be here if we don't get promoted. I agree, but we will. So let's not go on that. Ultimately, if we fail this season, it's on the 49ers and they have to be four candles. I don't think so personally. Anyway, let's not get into that. Let's not get into that. The only stance
my head's gone. My head's gone now.
Yeah, I know your head's gone. The only stance I see from Lee's Twitter, and that makes sense. That commentary is managed by a world-class manager, win all his matches. And I've never, ever called him fat. He's doing all right now, isn't he? I think we're the only team to take any points off him. What's Gabe's opinion on Rothwell? We know Connors, bang average for me, looks classy to watch, but ineffective and can't run. The drop down from Tanaka and then Rothwell and flipping heck, Jace. Wow.
If Jason's talking about the Premier League, I do think that Tanaka can be a Premier League midfielder. That's what I would say.
Yeah,
I do think that Tanaka has a tool chest that's larger and deeper than any of our other midfielders. Yes. So if that's what he means,
agreed.
Then I agree. I think it's harsh to say he's bang average in the championship.
I don't think Jace does mean that. I think he's just talking about.
I'm being generous to Jason, but like, yeah, but you can't look classy to watch and then be ineffective and can't run. I don't think those two things can be true in the championship. But I will say that, look, I do think he.
Jace, what about the last two games? The last two games, he's been, I mean, especially Sunderland.
He's been really, especially in Sunderland, he was really impactful. Look, I mean, he drives at defenders and does things that, some of our other midfielders can't do, with the exception of Tanaka. I think Tanaka can do all those things. Yeah, I think I think any team in the championship would have Rothwell in their starting 11.
I think
that's what I think.
and that's a good way of contextualizing it.
Yeah.
I think all of them do. I think,
I don't think any winning team in the Premier League would. So that's what I'm saying.
No. And that's why I've said, look, I wouldn't have Rothwell in the Premier League.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like that stance, but I wouldn't have him in the Premier League. But like right now at this standard, he's been a brilliant signing on loan. He's been a brilliant signing because they don't, like Gabe just said, they'd all have him in the midfield. I think every single one of our promotion rivals he gets in as a number 2. So that's kind of how I look at it. Let's get into a few more comments as well. Guys, we've got 800 people on all platforms as well. Make sure you're slapping a like and transition over to YouTube as well if you are watching on Twitter and Facebook. I know a lot of you do. Ryan says, what would you do, Gabe, if Strout gets... Oh, God. Hope and pray.
Pull a Romeo and Juliet and drink some poison. Yeah. Like, I mean, honestly,
like manufacture Verba just some sort of like leg in a lab.
Yeah, I would self-immolate.
Manufacture him a leg
if Strout got injured. That's what I would do. No, to be honest, because Ampadu's hurt, and I think that Adebayo's too young. I'd probably switch to 3 at the back. That's what I do.
Who would be 3?
It'd be Rodon. And somebody
you need an additional centre back.
Well, I don't know. I think you could play. Well, I guess that's right. You couldn't really play the right and left back as.
I think you'd have to go Byram.
Byram.
I couldn't have Gilavoggi there.
Yeah, I think you could have him there. I think he'd be all right. Anyway, it's not. The point is, it's not a scenario I really want to entertain.
You can't think, so you just saying you don't want
to.
No,
it's just it would be a disaster scenario. Is the point?
It would be disaster.
It's like asking me a year ago what I would do if Donald Trump was reelected. I don't know.
All right, let's stay for off there. Gabe, still a question about Farke. If he's a truly amazing manager, wants to guide us. Yeah, look, yeah.
I mean, he can guide us to promotion, and then I will guide him out the door with a thank you.
Yeah, Matt's in the building, one of the patrons, and was on the fan forum yesterday. Hi, Matt. Hi, lads. Is Gabe surprised we don't get more goals from Tanaka and Rothwell?
Well, we've gotten plenty of goal-creating actions from Rothwell, and we've gotten some goal input from Tanaka. I think we've gotten more from those two guys than we had from the midfielders last season. I'm not particularly surprised that in a 4-2-3-1, the 2 holding midfielders and a dual pivot are not scoring goals. We have more goals than anybody else in the championship. We have more goals in accumulation than any Premier League team does. I know it's more like apples and sand than apples and oranges, but the point is I'm not really looking for goals from other players. I think it's a decent question, Matt, but I would say in this system is not optimized for those 2 double pivots to be scoring goals.
I think you saw that at the start of the season as well, when Gruev and Tanaka were essentially in there. He wouldn't have moved them if there wasn't injury. So I don't think Farke, I think that's a good word, would almost make that double pivot optimal for scoring goals. I just don't think it's going to be the case. Abdul Rahman, hello mate, says, hello Connor mate. Only criticism of Farke is that he didn't rotate a few players yesterday after 2 tough dramatic games. Yeah, Aronson looked tired. Late substitutions don't help. I think that's a really good point from Abdul Rahman. I think you've got to maybe the drama of those 2 games as well, Gabe. And do you know what was interesting? Just picking off the back of what Abdul Rahman is saying there. Strout came out and he said they don't want to be known, and this is obviously common sense, but Strout said the commentator said, we all thought toward the back end of the game you were going to score goals like you did against Sunderland and Sheffield United. And he kind of cut the reporter off and he went, that's fine that we've done that, and it's great and it shows great character, but we don't want to be doing that every week. We need to be putting in performances. We need to be putting in performances of which then is going to sort of, we're then going to be able to take the game away from the opposition in those sort of first 85 minutes. So I think that's, I guess, what we've got to take into consideration, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
Don't want to be relying on late game heroics. Because the well dries up after a while. Yeah.
Managers can prove as well as players. Looking forward to see what Farke can do in the Premier League now.
Jason with the hot takes today. I respect it, Jason.
Hot takes going strong. All right, guys. Well, we've been about 50 minutes in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. The Hardline is back every single Sunday, your little Sunday supplement. Make sure you're tuning in as always, and we'll be back next week. Gabe, thanks so much for joining me, mate.
Yeah, anytime, man. Tune in next week.
Tune in.
Tune in.
See you in a bit, guys.